Every morning, roughly 3 out of 4 American adults open a cabinet, grab a handful of vitamins, and swallow them without a second thought. That daily ritual adds up to a $69 billion supplement industry in the United States alone. But new research from the NIH Office of Dietary Supplements and the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition reveals that up to 60% of those nutrients may never reach your bloodstream. Not because the vitamins are fake, not because you bought the wrong brand, because you took them at the wrong time, in the wrong combination, or on the wrong stomach. 5 specific vitamin timing mistakes are about to be revealed, each one backed by peer-reviewed clinical research, each one costing you real money and real health. Number 1 on this list involves a combination so common that over half the people taking it have no idea their medication has essentially stopped working. Number 5. Taking fat-soluble vitamins on an empty stomach. Vitamins A, D, E, and K don't dissolve in water, they dissolve in fat. Inside your small intestine, dietary fat forms tiny transport vehicles called micelles that carry these vitamins through your intestinal wall and into your bloodstream. Without fat present in the gut, these vitamins pass straight through you. Researchers at Tufts University in Boston put this to the test. Bess Dawson-Hughes and her team gave 50 healthy adults a large dose of vitamin D, 350,000 international units, alongside either a fat-free meal or a meal where 30% of calories came from fat. The results, published in the Journal of the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, were striking. The group that ate fat with their vitamin D showed 32% higher peak blood levels. By the 10-hour mark, absorption was 40% greater in the fat group compared to those who took the exact same pill with a fat-free meal. Take Sandra, a 53-year-old office manager from Columbus, Ohio. Sandra had been taking 2,000 IU of vitamin D every morning with her black coffee for over a year. Her doctor kept telling her she was still deficient, and she couldn't figure out why. Her levels sat stubbornly at 22 nanograms per milliliter, below the 30 her doctor wanted. Nobody asked her when or how she took her supplement. When her new physician suggested she simply take the same pill with her largest meal of the day, instead of with her morning coffee. Her levels climbed to 38 within 10 weeks. Same brand, same dose, different stomach. That matches exactly what Mulligan and Licata found in a Cleveland Clinic study. 17 patients who moved their vitamin D to their biggest meal saw 57% average increase in blood levels over 2 to 3 months. No dose change, just timing. The fix is simple. Take your vitamin D, vitamin A, vitamin E, and vitamin K supplements with a meal that contains some fat. An avocado, a handful of nuts, eggs, olive oil on a salad. It doesn't take much. The NIH confirms the type of fat doesn't matter. Monounsaturated or polyunsaturated both work equally well. But while a missing fat source wastes your fat-soluble vitamins, the next mistake on this list actively blocks a mineral your body is desperate for. Number 4. Taking calcium and iron at the same time. This is one of the most well-documented nutrient interactions in all of nutritional science, and it affects millions of people, especially women who supplement both minerals daily. Leif Holberg and his team at the University of Gothenburg in Sweden ran the definitive study, published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition in 1991. They tested 126 subjects and found that adding calcium to a meal reduced iron absorption by 50 to 60%. The inhibition was dose-dependent. As little as 165 milligrams of calcium, roughly the amount in a single glass of milk, cut iron absorption in half. James Cook at the University of Kansas confirmed it in a companion study the same year. 600 milligrams of calcium citrate reduced iron absorption by 49% on an empty stomach. Calcium phosphate was even worse, blocking 62%. Cook's team concluded that taking regular calcium supplements with meals makes it significantly harder for women to meet their daily iron requirement. Linda, a 47-year-old elementary school teacher from Tucson, Arizona, had been fighting iron deficiency anemia for 2 years. She took her iron supplement faithfully every morning. She also took her calcium supplement at the same time because her doctor had told her to take both daily, and the morning was easiest to remember. Her ferritin levels wouldn't budge above 12, even on prescription-strength iron. When a pharmacist finally flagged the interaction and suggested she take her calcium at dinner instead of breakfast, her ferritin climbed to 28 within 4 months. Same supplements, different hours of the day. The NIH Office of Dietary Supplements now explicitly states that people should take individual calcium and iron supplements at different times of the day. The Mayo Clinic echoes the same advice. If you need both, take iron in the morning on an empty stomach and calcium in the evening with dinner. And if you want to boost that iron absorption even further, pair it with a glass of orange juice. Research from Cook and Monson in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition showed that just 25 milligrams of vitamin C, the amount in one small orange, increased iron absorption by 65%. At higher doses, the effect was even more dramatic. Now, the next mistake on this list doesn't block a mineral. It blocks something just as important to your health: your sleep. Number 3. Taking B-complex vitamins before bed. B vitamins, especially B1, B6, and B12, are cofactors in your body's energy metabolism pathways. They help convert food into cellular fuel. Taking them right before you're trying to wind down for the night is like drinking a cup of coffee and wondering why you can't fall asleep. Researchers at the University of Adelaide in Australia ran a randomized, double-blind, placebo-controlled trial, the gold standard of clinical research, published in Perceptual and Motor Skills in 2018. 100 participants took either a B-complex supplement or a placebo at bedtime for 5 consecutive nights. The B-complex group reported significantly lower sleep quality and significantly greater tiredness upon waking compared to placebo. A separate finding from that same study was fascinating. Vitamin B6 alone, at 240 milligrams, significantly increased dream recall without harming sleep quality. It was the full B complex that disrupted sleep, suggesting the culprit is likely B1 or B12 rather than B6 on its own. Paul, a 61-year-old retired electrician from Richmond, Virginia, started a B complex supplement after reading it could boost his energy. He took it with his evening medications around 8 p.m. because that was his supplement routine. Within 2 weeks, he was waking up at 3 a.m. most nights and dragging through his mornings. He assumed it was stress. His wife finally Googled whether B vitamins could affect sleep and suggested he switch to taking them at breakfast. Within a week, his sleep returned to normal, and he actually felt the energy boost he'd been looking for in the first place. The fix costs nothing. Move your B complex to the morning, ideally with breakfast. That way, the energy-supporting properties work in your favor during the day instead of against you at night. If you're learning something from this video that could save you money or protect your health, consider subscribing. I cover research like this every week so you can make smarter decisions about what you put in your body. Now, the next mistake involves a supplement that nearly half of Americans take in a form that barely reaches their bloodstream. Number 2. Taking magnesium oxide instead of an absorbable form. Magnesium oxide is the most common form of magnesium in cheap supplements because it packs more elemental magnesium per pill. 60% of the pill by weight is actual magnesium compared to just 16% for magnesium citrate. Sounds like a better deal, right? Researchers at the University of Texas Southwestern Medical Center published a bioavailability comparison in the Journal of the American College of Nutrition. Magnesium oxide was virtually insoluble in plain water and only 43% soluble even in peak stomach acid conditions. Magnesium citrate, by contrast, was 55% soluble in plain water. The key measurement, urinary excretion, which tracks how much actually reached the bloodstream, showed citrate was absorbed at roughly 4 times the rate of oxide. The NIH Office of Dietary Supplements confirms this directly. Their professional fact sheet states that forms of magnesium that dissolve well in liquid are more completely absorbed in the gut than less soluble forms. Even under perfect conditions, your body only absorbs 30 to 40% of dietary magnesium. With a poorly soluble form like oxide, that number drops dramatically. Carol, a 58-year-old dental hygienist from Charlotte, North Carolina, had been taking 400 milligrams of magnesium oxide every night for leg cramps. The cramps kept coming. Her doctor ran blood work and found her magnesium levels were borderline low despite consistent supplementation. When she switched to magnesium glycinate, the same dose, the cramps stopped within 2 weeks and her next blood test showed levels comfortably in the normal range. Same mineral, same milligrams on the label, different form, dramatically different result. For patients with digestive issues, the gap is even wider. Schwett and colleagues found that magnesium glycinate delivered twice the absorption of magnesium oxide in people with impaired gut function, 23% versus nearly 12%. The better alternative is straightforward. Look for magnesium citrate, magnesium glycinate, or magnesium malate on the label instead of magnesium oxide. They cost slightly more per bottle, but you actually absorb what you're paying for. But everything you've heard so far involves nutrients not reaching your bloodstream. Number 1 on this list is different. This mistake can cause a prescription medication to stop working entirely, and over half the people at risk have no idea. Number 1. Taking calcium or iron supplements with thyroid medication. Levothyroxine is the most commonly prescribed drug in America, taken daily by roughly 20 million people with hypothyroidism. It's also one of the most sensitive medications to supplement interference. A landmark study published in JAMA, the Journal of the American Medical Association, tested what happened when 20 stable hypothyroid patients added 1,200 milligrams of calcium carbonate to their daily routine. Within 3 months, 20% of those patients developed abnormally high TSH levels. Their thyroid medication had effectively stopped working. A companion experiment in 7 healthy volunteers showed that calcium taken alongside levothyroxine reduced peak absorption of the drug from 83% down to 57%, a 1/3 drop. A systematic review published in Pharmaceuticals in 2021 found that over half of hypothyroid patients on levothyroxine were simultaneously taking supplements known to interfere with it. Calcium was the biggest culprit at nearly 48%, followed by iron at 12%. Most of these patients had no idea the interaction existed. Margaret, a 64-year-old retired librarian from Tampa, Florida, had been on levothyroxine for 8 years with well-controlled thyroid levels. When her doctor recommended calcium supplements for bone health, she started taking them alongside her morning thyroid pill. Over the next 6 months, she gained 15 pounds, her energy cratered, and her hair started thinning. Her TSH had climbed from 2.1 to 8.3. Her doctor increased her levothyroxine dose twice before a pharmacist flagged the calcium interaction. Once Margaret moved her calcium to the evening, at least 4 hours after her thyroid medication, her TSH dropped back to normal within 8 weeks. No dose change needed. Benvenga and colleagues documented 19 similar patients in a 2017 study. Their average TSH was 7.48, well above normal. Switching to liquid levothyroxine, which bypasses the calcium binding problem in the stomach, brought their average down to 1.95. 95% reached normal thyroid levels. The fix is critical and non-negotiable. If you take levothyroxine or any thyroid hormone medication, take it first thing in the morning on a completely empty stomach with plain water. Wait at least 30 to 60 minutes before eating, and separate any calcium or iron supplements by at least 4 hours. This isn't optional. This is the difference between a medication that works and one that doesn't. So here's where this leaves you. 5 timing mistakes, 5 fixes that cost nothing. Take your fat-soluble vitamins with a meal that has some fat in it. Separate your calcium and iron by at least 4 to 6 hours. Move your B complex to the morning. Switch from magnesium oxide to citrate or glycinate. And if you take thyroid medication, keep calcium and iron far away from your morning dose. Tonight, before you take your next supplement, check the label. Check what else you're taking at the same time. And ask yourself one question. Is this actually reaching my bloodstream, or am I just paying for expensive urine? That single question could be worth more than every vitamin in your cabinet.